All right, this course syllabus requires us to spend some time on running time. And here's a set of slides. I put it together that I think gives you a big kind of overview of it. All right. So I have, we could spend time on running time and on classifying functions with big O notation, which you did in 1019, right? And I do it again in 3101. And then you need a little bit of how you play with logs and how do you do summations. And I'm a big believer in knowing quantifiers and recurrence relations, right? These are all some math that we could go on. I guess this is the book that people could use for this course. It has a chapter on it. And right, so what is running time? It's how the execution time depends on the size of the input, right? We say the input's n, and the running time is 5 times n squared, then you have an order n squared algorithm, right? So before we can do that, you have to specify, oh, what's the purpose? Bunch of purposes here. One is, oh, let me tell you a little story. When I was a postdoc in Berkeley, I was using this program that I didn't really get had double exponential time, right? So I ran it on n equals 4, and it worked fine. Then I ran it on n equals 5, and it didn't come back. So I thought I'd give it a little time, and I went for lunch. By the time I got back, I had crashed the whole department's computer. All right? And I said to them, guys, I'm just a little guy here. You should not have your computer such that I can crash it. But this says you should know you should have some sense of how long the program should run before you start running it, right? And then the flip is to estimate how big of an input you can have, right? I could run it on 4, but I couldn't run it on 5, right? And then you might want to compare different algorithms, right? Sorting in n log n versus n squared. Well, when n is big, it makes a big difference, right? When n is small, who knows which one will win, right? And also, if you have this big piece of code and it's running too slow, then you want to go into the most you want to find which line of code gets executed the most and optimize that one, right? The initialization code that gets executed once, don't worry about it so much, right? And different applications might need a different program, because if you're only sorting 3 things, maybe you don't need a fancy sorting algorithm, right? All right, so what is running time? It's a mapping from the size of the input to the time, right? And so I like to think about it as a professor here, I'm going to give you an input, right? How much work is it for me to give you the input versus how much work is it for you to do the computation, right? And if our works are about the same, then we say the running time is good. And if you're working way harder than me, then the computation is bad. The running time is bad, right? But either way, you have to define what the size of the input mean, right? The classic definition is how many bits does it take to write down, right? Because when I'm giving it to you, I'm transmitting it along a wire in bits, right? And the time, well, it could be how many computer cycles, happen, right? How many seconds happen?